And then my dad was going through the paper and then he discovers that his dad has died. I was born with a cone head. She opened the door and basically turned him away. Best people like you could ever imagine. Firstly, where do I even start with this video? Well, firstly, I kind of want to say that this is not clickbait. This is 100% true. Half of my family did disown me. And I want to talk about it. I haven't actually spoken about this beyond our family unit. I've never publicly spoken to anyone about this. It's raw. It's a raw thing. And it's something that has affected me throughout my life. And the reason why I wanted to do this video now is because everyone's in self-isolation. You have a lot of time on your hands. And I just think that a lot of people can learn a lot from this video. So I thought it was a good time to speak about it. And also you guys apparently really like a story time kind of video. So I'm giving you the tea, I think is what they say. So grab a cup of tea because I have a lot of information to go through. I've also got photos. I'm armed with lots of photos to show you. So little Eltoria. And yeah, anyway, let's just get into the video. So it wasn't my mum's side of the family who disowned me and my siblings. It was actually my dad's side of the family. I am going to go into why and what happened. But from the age of about, I want to say 5 or 6, maybe 7, I think it was around 6, I have ever only known like having one set of grandparents. So my mum's dad, my mum's mum, and I've also had one auntie and one uncle. That's all I've had. That's all I've known. So yeah, I mean, to know that I've got one side of the family that doesn't want anything to do with me it's sad. Where did it all start? I want to show just baby photos to start off with. So this is myself and my sister at the hospital. For those of you who don't know, I am a twin and I am this one here. I was born with a cone head and that is my sister just here. Then I've got some really cute photos. So this is me. Oh my gosh, how adorable. Now this photo is actually with my nonna. So if you're Italian, we call grandma nonna. Then we've got a photo with my dad's dad. Nonna is just there, that's my grandfather. That is my sister, that is me, and that is my mum with very crazy hair. Got another photo of my nonno with myself and my sister. So that is me just there. So this is the only photo that I have of them together. Everything looked pretty good there. Like, so you're probably thinking like, where did it all go wrong? It's going back many years. So I was with my twin sister and we went to my dad's brother's house. So it was myself, my sister, my auntie, my uncle, and their 2 daughters. So we went there because my parents were at a wedding, so they needed childcare, and my brothers went to my grandparents, so my nonna and nanas. Now this rift is really silly. This is all I know about the kind of rift. So basically what happened was I was at my auntie and uncle's and I got really upset. And I made my sister cry as well. And I remember why. So we were sat on a bed and my cousins had this like plastic toy thing to go over the finger, like puppets. And my cousin cut herself and she started bleeding. Now I got upset because she was bleeding and for some reason I just kept crying. I made my sister cry, and I remember like eating spaghetti and I was just crying and they couldn't get me to stop. So basically they got my sister and myself and took us to my grandparents' house where my brothers were because I think they thought that I might stop crying. Anyway, so I can't remember if they took us to my grandparents because we were crying, or 2, if it was because my parents were late from getting back from a wedding. Now the thing is, it couldn't have been that late because 1, it was in the summer. I think it was summertime and it was still light outside. And I reckon this was about 5 or 6 p.m. or maybe 7 at a push, but it wasn't like overly late. So at this point, all us kids are at my grandparents' house, and I think my auntie and uncle were there too. And when my parents came back, a little bit late from this wedding, it just all kicked off. I remember there being a bit of shouting. I don't know whether someone was having to go at my parents for being late, and the fact that we were crying, were crying. And with all this shouting, I remember just bursting into tears because I was like, what is going on? Like, when you're that young and you're hearing a lot of shouting, you're gonna get upset. I think it's because my brother got upset. Yeah, he started crying. I remember my older brother, he started crying like badly, and that triggered me, and then we all started crying. So yeah, that was that. And then I remember this, and I know this happened. So my grandfather, my nonno, basically turned around to my dad and said, get those effing kids out of my house. Or was it, get those bastard kids out of this house? And obviously my dad got upset and angry, so he took us out of the house. I remember my nana being really, really upset. Anyway, so we all got on the car and then we just left. I do know that when people are angry, they say things that they don't mean. So I mean, I've always like taken that with a bit of pinch of salt, because we say things in heat of the moments. But what happened afterwards is what really upsets me. So fast forward in time, my nana used to come and see us, but my grandfather, my nonno, never came and saw us. So what would happen was that they'd come in the car, my nana would come in and see us, but my nonna used to either 1, sit in the car, or 2, just go home. Now, the thing is with my dad's side of the family, they are super, super stubborn. So stubborn. So I don't know if it's because maybe there's more to this than I actually know. But from what has been discussed in the family, it's all come from this one event. But yeah, like, just been really stubborn. No, I don't think anyone apologized. My mum was really upset because, like, of what he called us, like, as kids, which is understandable for any mother. And I think my dad felt the same as well. So they kind of probably felt that the apology should have come from the other side. So yeah, my nana came and saw us, but then all of a sudden she stopped coming to see us. Yeah, and then fast forward to 2009 is when I next kind of heard of them. So I think this is from, I want to say from the age of maybe 7 until 2009. So that is a good 10 years that I hadn't spoken to them. So 2009 rocks up, and I remember I was doing my GCSE exams. And then my dad was going through the paper, and then he discovers that his dad has died. And I remember just feeling so bad for him. As a 16-year-old girl, I was just like, man, that is harsh. That is so harsh. I mean, like, times like this, you would expect, like, at least one person to get in contact with my dad just to be like, your dad's died. But to find out from a newspaper, so sad. So from 2009 to 2015, a lot of things happened for me. So I did my GCSEs. I went to uni, got my law degree, and then I graduated in 2014, and then I came back home. So basically I was living in Reading and I came back home. So within that time, my older brother had seen one of my cousins with her kids, because my brother works for the council and he does activities for children, and he had bumped into her a few times. And you know, I think my brother was like, you know, this is so silly, it'd be so good to see my other side of the family again. So we actually had one of my other cousins on Facebook. So we all reached out and basically said, like, look, we'd absolutely love to get in contact with you guys. It'd be good to see you. We'd love to see Nana again. Can we somehow make this happen, basically? So there was a little bit of time, maybe just a few days. And anyway, she came back and said that as a family, they've decided that 1, they don't want to see us, and 2, that my nana doesn't want to see us. And it was a bit strange because, you know, for a grandmother not wanting to see her grandchild, I just find that really hard to believe. Now, I don't know if this is true. Like, I don't know whether, like, my nana was never informed about it, which I think was the case, and that between my cousins, my dad's sister, and my dad's brother, they all just kind of thought, no, like, no, we just don't want to see them. You know, what some people think, and I'm just going to speculate here, I'm not going to confirm anything, but I reckon what happened was, with us reaching out, I think a lot of people always think, oh, they're only getting in contact because they want part of the inheritance. My goodness, like, that was never or is ever the case. And I always think that people who think like that are actually the ones who kind of want it all to themselves, if that makes sense. But all that we ever wanted as kids, so my 2 brothers and my sister, all we wanted to know is to know my nana. Anyway, so when my cousin kind of said that to us, I actually spoke to her on the phone. I actually asked to speak to her. So I had this phone call, I think it was a good hour and a half. I can remember it was like it was a long conversation. This must have been back in 2015, 2016. I think it was 2015. And basically, like, what was being said by her was just, it was awful. I just kind of felt like I was being abandoned again. I think there was a bit of concerns with her as well about my nana being too old and that it might shock her. But that kind of confirms to me that I've never actually spoken to her. So, yeah, that kind of confirmed that with me. And also, I remember getting really upset and I asked, like, okay, well, if that's the decision, could you please at least tell me when she passes away? As I would like to pay my respects. And then, wait for it, this is what was said. It was said that we would not be welcome at the funeral. To me, it just feels like they were making the decision for my nana, and my nana wasn't speaking, like, on behalf of herself. Just so upsetting. Also in this conversation, my cousin had said that apparently she'd been showing my nana photos of us all, like when I graduated from uni, etc, etc. And apparently one day she turned around and said that she had had enough and that she didn't want to see the photos anymore. Again, I don't know if that's true or if that was said to kind of like, for her to kind of justify that my nana didn't want to see us anymore. I don't know, but it did hurt. It hurt. I think in a nutshell for me, like I said, I kind of felt that a decision was being made for my nana. I don't think they went to her and said, look, you know, the kids have been in contact. I just kind of feel that a decision had been made from like the others, which I think is very spiteful, very vindictive, because at the end of the day, the injured party in all of this has been us 4 kids, us 4 grandchildren. I mean, my grandparents had this altercation with my parents by the sounds of things, but the injured party in it all, the persons that have lost out, have been the 4 grandchildren. No fault of their own. I personally never did anything. My brothers and sisters did nothing, but we are the ones being punished. Now, everything that's happened that I've just said, I definitely think that it's affected my personality. It has affected me throughout the whole of my life. Even to this day, I get like abandonment issues. I kind of question, like I overthink things. So one, I always assume that people just don't like me or don't want anything to do with me. 2, I get really upset when I feel like someone is slipping away. And especially with family stuff, like I get really upset. How can I explain this? So let's just say like in Joe's side of the family or like my side of the family, if like someone like maybe unintentionally leaves me out or something, like doesn't include me and stuff, I get upset. I actually take it to heart, and I just think it all stems back to this, because like being ousted by one half of your family, I've had that, and I just always assume like the worst case scenario of like what happened. Like my dad's side of the family wanted nothing to do with me, and they've made that very clear, and it's something that I've really lived with for a very long time. Anyway, fast forward to only just last year. I think it was last year or the year before. So my brother, my older brother, actually thought, sod it, I'm just going to go round and see my nana. Anyway, fast forwarding to only, I think it was last year or the year before, but my older brother thought, sod it, I'm going to go and see my nana. Now, I think this is another thing that my dad's side of the family had an issue with. I think basically what was said was that you kids could have come and seen nana at any point. But the thing is, like, when you're a child, one, I don't drive. Two, personally, I could not remember where she lived. And three, I just think that's a very kind of like childish thing to say. If you're an adult, like my grandparents, you'd make the effort to come see your grandchildren just because you're the adult. Does that make sense? Am I like making sense here? That's how I would treat my grandchildren, and that's how I would treat my children. It's just something that I would do. I think they kind of felt like that we could have come and seen them. But then the argument is on the other side as well, like they could have come and seen us as well. Anyway, so my brother goes and sees my nana, literally just turns up on the doorstep, knocks on the door. Wasn't sure if it was her house at first because we weren't sure if she'd moved away. And what do you know, my nana opens the door and, you know, is like, oh my God, Brett. Because my older brother still looks like what he did when he was younger. Anyway, so my brother goes inside, has a cup of tea, had a lovely afternoon with her, spoke, and my nana said that she would like to see him again, as well as us other three. Because apparently my dad's sister lived with her, that she would have to talk to her about it, but apparently the conversation was left at that she would 100% definitely would like to see us other three as well. And that we would go one by one so it wasn't too much for her. So that's what happened. So my older brother came back in really good spirits, and my other brother, my youngest brother, decided to go the following week. So we left it a good few days. So my youngest brother, bless him, went to her house with a bouquet of flowers, and she opened the door and basically turned him away. We don't know why, because it all seems, again, very strange, because she was absolutely fine with my brother and wanted to see like us three, was very clear with her intentions. She even said something about like, I am the boss of this family, like if other people in the family have an issue with it, they're going to have to take it up with me. I think what happened was that she probably spoke to, you know, the family, and they were also dead against it, probably said horrible things, probably said things like that we've got bad intentions. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, so my poor little brother got turned away at the doorstep, holding a bunch of flowers, again being rejected. It did bring back memories again of like the disowning kind of, you know, that kind of feeling. But I do definitely feel like I've got closure, you know. So the reason why I feel like I've got closure is because, one, we definitely tried. We tried to reach out. We tried to go and see her. We tried to, we just basically reached out. Unlike them, they never reached out to us, but I just feel like as us four kids, so my brothers and sisters, we actually went to the effort to reach out on a few occasions. Yeah, we tried. We really, really tried. But do you know what? I've had my brothers and sisters throughout my whole of my life. Just going to show you some photos. They've missed like really key things, like, you know, growing up. And this is a funny photo. I'm like asleep in this photo. But, you know, they've missed out on a lot that they could have had, and it's very sad. Which leads me on to the next point. I'm going to get a bit emotional at this point because, anyway, like I said at the beginning of this video, you know, I've only had one set of grandparents, and do you know what? They had to take on another set of grandparents' responsibilities, and do you know what? They did the most amazing job. They never ever made me feel like that I needed another set of grandparents, because my mum's parents are like the best people in this world. Best people like you could ever imagine. I'm getting really upset because my grandmother died back in December. I don't think I'm fully over it. I am over it. But like, I keep having these dreams, like wonderful dreams about her, and they've just been amazing, and I want to show some photographs. Sorry, I'm getting really teary. So this is a picture of my sister, my brother, and me outside their beautiful thatched cottage. This is the kind of Christmases that they used to give us. Like, Christmas around my grandparents was like the best. Oh, this is at their wedding anniversary and they're dancing together. So if you are currently self-isolating, you've got a lot of time in your hands, and maybe there's a rift between your family, I just want you to just understand that life is way too short. And if you can really put your differences aside and not be stubborn, like just reaching out, apologizing. So maybe if you have kids and your kids are not seeing their grandparents like me, then I just think for your grandchildren, your children's sake, just mend the rift. Don't let the parties who are suffering to be your children. Always remember who really is the injured party in all this. Like, who are the people, the person that's going to be really affected, and just sometimes just putting our stubbornness to one side is the best thing. Okay, so that is the end of this video. I think I mentioned everything, but this is just from my own perspective. I just wanted to throw that in. I'm not like putting any shame on anyone, not at all, wouldn't do that. So I just want to speak about what happened, really. If you like this kind of video, please let me know. If you want to know more about my life, please drop a comment down below. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Sorry for crying, and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye.